Listen here, honey. Come in and have a seat at the table, okay? If you did not see Will and Jada's last Red Table Talk, then you might not know what I'm referring to. But honey, if you saw it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I just want to talk a little bit about this idea of relationship goals and what a marriage is supposed to be based off of just what we saw in this Red Table Talk. Of course, there's been all this information or all this speculation about Jada and August Alsina having a relationship. But even before that, there was all these stories that Will and Jada had an open marriage and they were seeing other people. And then when they did their Red Table Talk about a year ago, they talked about being life partners, but not necessarily calling each other husband and wife anymore. And all of that just sounded like, I don't even know what. It sounded like some mess when it came out, but, you know, that's their relationship. It's what works for them. So then that's, you know, what they need to do. That's what they have to do if it works for them. But what I want to talk about is this idea of relationship goals, because I can remember for the longest time, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett being the ideal couple. And she's so beautiful and he's so handsome. And look at these beautiful children they have. They have this amazing family dynamic. That's people on the outside looking in, expecting their relationship to be perfect because it looked good. And literally in this Red Table Talk, Jada talked about how unhappy she had been for years. So yeah, it looks good. And a lot of times where they were having like these amazing shows and pictures, and when they're hosting events and everything, they look like a happy couple, a happy family, but looks are deceiving. And that's the problem with people comparing relationships on the outside instead of knowing what's on the inside. Relationships are work, and it's not easy. You have bad times, you have good times, you have a lot of things that just happen in a relationship. And if you don't realize that, if you don't focus in on that, and you're just focusing on the pretty pictures and the Instagram stories, you will get caught up in having your mind blown like a lot of people did when they found out, you know, that Will and Jada was not the perfect couple. And it's not to say that they're not the perfect couple. They're just not flawless. They have issues. They have pitfalls. They have, you know, things that are going on like any other couple. And it might be hard to accept the fact that there is no such thing as a relationship goal or a perfect relationship. Every relationship is going to have a hiccup or an issue or something in the background that the two people involved have to work at together. Not everything is just going to be easy and pretty on the outside. And I think that's what this Red Table Talk showed without actually showing it. Now, that's not even getting into the whole dynamics of their relationships, because honestly, I think it's foolish to stay in a situation where you're that unhappy, especially with the way that they kind of talked with each other about, like, you know, I was done with your ass. Like, who says that to their wife? And I get that, you know, not everything is perfect. And, you know, sometimes you get into modes where you have that feeling inside, but to literally say that on social media and have it be known everywhere, and then to just kind of end the whole thing with, like, we're going to be in a bad marriage for life. That, I mean, I know they were joking, but at the same time, I don't think they were for real, like, joking, because there's still a lot that needs to be resolved, but that's neither here nor there. The point I want to make is there is no such thing as relationship goals as far as comparing yourself to another couple. If you want a goal for your relationship, then you plan it between the two people that are involved, which is yourself and your partner. So, you know, the goal is for you guys to do whatever works for y'all relationship and not to focus on anybody else's ideas of what a relationship should be or look like. If you don't work hard to build a goal that works for the both of you, you're going to end up in a situation like we just saw on this Red Table Talk, where you have two people who are immensely unhappy with each other to the point where they had to separate and be done with each other. And and have relationships outside of their marriage because they couldn't figure out how to make it work outside of how it looked on social media or on TV. Like they looked perfect in front of the camera, but when it came down to the nitty-gritty, nobody was happy. And that's the problem with the idea of the relationship goal. If you're doing that, then you're doomed to have a miserable relationship. And I feel so sorry for you because you should be happy. Not only that, I do want to address something else. Yes, relationships are hard and you have to put in work, but they should not be devastating. If you're in a relationship where you are devastatingly unhappy, then something is wrong. You don't need to stay in that relationship to prove no point. A lot of people are just trying to stay, and I think that's the whole idea that we get from like the Bible and the church, and it's like you just got to stick with it and make it work through thick and thin through all these things. And there has to be a limit. You have to put yourself first in some way, shape, or form. And if you're that unhappy, if things are that bad, then do you push past that just to be with somebody, just to make it work? I don't think so. Now, granted, I haven't been married and I haven't been in a lot of like long-term relationships where, you know, we had to hit that many hurdles and had to learn through it. But the few relationships that I have been in that have been on the longer side, when they got to the point where neither of us was happy, when I remember being in a relationship where I said some of the worst things to this person because I was so unhappy with them, I couldn't even find anything positive to say. You can't. How do you come back from that? How do you keep pushing yourself into that relationship trying to prove a point? I think at some point you need to know when you need to walk away. And it sounds like Will and Jada are kind of on the cusp of that, if not already at a point where they should have walked away. And I'm not here to judge their relationship or say what they should or shouldn't do or, you know, anything like that. But I definitely want to just point out that if it has to be that hard and you have to be that devastated in the relationship, maybe you should start thinking about not being there with that person anymore, because that amount of unhappiness is not healthy. It's not healthy for your body. You're literally killing yourself to maintain a relationship that you don't feel joy in. And you think this doesn't have an effect on your children or the people around you, but it does, because anybody who's around you, who loves you, knows that the two of you aren't happy and know that this relationship is bringing out the worst in the both of you. They can feel it. They can sense it. They're witness to it. So if that is what your idea is, that we're just going to stick it out and just be miserable because of, you know, all these reasons that you made up in your head, you are doomed for physical duress and stress on your body. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, to force themselves into a relationship that just does not make sense, that does not work for the two people who are primarily involved. So that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. I wanted to just point out the truths that I saw within the video about relationship goals and about sticking in a relationship that doesn't really serve the two people involved. Because if it doesn't serve you guys and you are that unhappy, then walking away is not a bad idea. It's actually a better idea than sticking and stressing and sleeping in separate rooms and literally hating each other, but staying together for an image that doesn't make sense to anybody, including yourselves. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that red table talk was effective and that we will see a happy marriage between the two of them down the line? What's your stance on the idea of relationship goals? And do you feel like that's something that we need to be basing our relationships on? Thank you again for joining me on this channel. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.